Hello everyone and good evening to you. It's still February, and like I promised in my last video, we'll be continuing in the series on truths about teaching. In the first installment of this, what I did bring across then was that you don't know everything, and I did say that it's a blessing for us not to know everything. What it means is that we can learn by design. We can wake up every morning and come into new bodies of knowledge, and it's something that I believe should be exciting. It's something that should make us happy, because it's just beautiful that I can become a better version of myself with every day that I get to live on this earth. So that was the first one, and today I'm moving to the second one, which is teaching as rewards. Teaching as rewards. You remember the popular saying we all grew up with, that the reward of the teacher is in heaven. Well, I like to think that you know by now that that's not true. The reward of the teacher is not in heaven. The reward of every one of us, actually, not just the teacher now, is here with us, even before the afterlife. And I think the most important thing I want to even say about rewards and teaching is the fact that you are the one to determine the kinds of rewards that you get. The rewards you get on this job will be determined by you. I know as people, as human beings, we would always talk about the fact that our employers don't pay us well enough. Interestingly, that's not a teaching thing alone, it's everywhere. There are many sectors where people believe they're not given what they really deserve. But then the question should be, is it just going to be all talk? Is there something that we can do to make it better? And that's what I really want to talk about. If we say that teaching as rewards, it's important that we understand in detail what that means. The beautiful gift of teaching is a means of access to people. And this is my belief. If you have access to people, access to information, and you know how to solve problems consistently, then you should not be broke, no matter what your basic salary is. So it comes down to one thing, ladies and gentlemen. It comes down to whether you and I have been able to take ourselves to a level where we can solve problems meaningfully. The children we teach expose us to a bundle of problems, and most times the problems are a disguise to wealth, or at least to money. Let me start with that, because the way life has been structured is that it is by solving problems that you can earn. Now, it's not something that most teachers are used to. And I say this because from experience I can tell you that what most teachers think that the job is all about is that they've been able to master a particular textbook. They've been able to put it in the head over the years, or maybe they've even scored A1 in it, and therefore they qualified to be paid several thousands of naira, and they qualified for this, for that, and that. Unfortunately, that's not the way the real world works. Anybody can teach. Anybody can teach. But not anybody can solve problems. So, teaching as rewards for the teachers who can consistently, convincingly solve problems. Teaching as rewards for teachers who can consistently, continually solve problems. It's not enough that you have taught for many years. What problems can you solve? It's not enough that you have a master's degree. What problems can you solve? When you meet a child, for instance, who is educably challenged, who struggles to understand what he is taught, for instance, what do you know that can change the fortunes of that child in 6 months. For example, when you meet a child who has social withdrawal symptoms, who is not friendly, who doesn't go all out, who doesn't like to associate with other people, what do you know that will help that child still learn? These are the real issues. Anybody can gather 15 children and be called uncle or auntie. Anybody can gather 17 kids and hold the cane and chase them all around the place. But the real crux of teaching is the ability to regularly solve problems. When you become the go-to person for the challenges that children have, you automatically have the access to demand whatever you want for the problems you solve. And the beauty about being able to solve problems is that you're the one that determines what you get paid for the problems you solve. Yeah, people can have opinions, it's too much, so long as you're the one who can solve it, they will have to find a way to pay it. And I give you a very good example using medicine as an example. May God not let us be unhealthy. But when you have to go for a surgery, no matter the amount that the doctor calls it, the only thing that people ever do is they go and go for me. You don't go to a hospital and begin to price it like you're pricing tomatoes. You know, 75,000. Because these guys have been able to take their skill to a level where more often than not they can tell you, oh, this surgery is going to solve your problem. So because I can solve your problem, therefore your job is to go and get me this, this and this. And you don't sit in their offices and begin to argue. I want to ask that every teacher goes to study doctors very well. Teaching like a doctor, so to speak, saves a lot of lives for me. Number one, what it means is it pushes me to get to mastery. Even if it's one thing that I get to master, that becomes my preoccupation. I want to make sure that I understand that thing. That if 1,000 children are brought my way, I know exactly what needs to be done to help each one of them. And when you get to that point, you don't begin to complain about money. Because when you're able to solve people's problems, then you can begin to attach quality value to the problems you solve and demand and not feel guilty about it. There are problems you solve that are worth hundreds of thousands. There are problems you solve that are worth lesser. But the point is that people will not just carry their money and come and dump at your feet. But when you're able to take yourself to a point where you can solve problems, it might just be one problem that you're able to master solving. It's going to feed you. And if you're able to master financial literacy too, you will scale from there. So teaching has rewards, but the rewards are for people who can consistently, consciously, continually solve problems. You therefore want to go and sit down and check yourself. You want to go and check how many problems you have really been able to master solving. Anybody can talk about the difficulties of the child. Anybody can complain about the current situation of things. But only the people who are able to prefer solutions will gain attention and the needed funds that are requisite to what they offer on the table. I hope this has helped somebody. If you really want to get the rewards in teaching, the key is to be intentional about personal development. No other way. Be intentional about personal development. Be intentional about human relations. Be intentional about seeing a castle on a dumpster. Be intentional about reconditioning your mind to be somebody who goes into every situation thinking, what can I do? When you begin to live like that, then you will change your fortunes. I guarantee it. Of course, in addition to that, what you probably have to learn is that you will need to demand what you truly deserve and not feel guilty for it. But once that demand can be matched to an ability to solve a problem, then I guarantee you it's just a matter of time. There will be people who will be glad to pay you whatever you demand. So I hope this has been able to help someone. Teaching has rewards, but it's for those who solve problems. So I come your way again. Thank you and bye-bye.